So we have our
karmas.
yeah, we have our karmas, good and bad. When we do pratnas and prayers and things, how does that affect the karmas that we're dealing with? Does it actually change the karma that we are have to um, that we have to resolve? What is the science? So if I'm going through some difficult situations or good situations, and we do prayers and things like that, how does it affect the? Is it actually affecting the karma itself? The
It's a good question.
Actually, what you're saying is good karma or bad karma. We're talking about the effects of the karma. You understand?
No, put it on this side.
So today, all
On
those
one of
fixed-
these chairs.
all those effects, આપણી બધી જે છે તે past life ના karmas, the whole life is the result of the past life karmas. So once you attain your own self-realized state, you realize who you are. So once you realize, right, who you are, તને ખબર પડી જ્ઞાન વિધિ પછી, એટલે જે ચાર્જિંગ કર્માસ હતા ઇન ધ ચાર્જિંગ સ્ટેટ એ બંધ થઈ ગયા. શું કહ્યું? બટ વોટ અબાઉટ ધ કર્માસ, પાસ્ટ કર્માસ, રાઈટ? ધોઝ કર્માસ યુ સ્ટીલ have to suffer in the form of effects. And that's the effect of all your past karmas. But while suffering those results, right, આપણે એમાં સંભાવે નિકાલથી રહેવાનું છે. You understand? Whether good result or bad result. Like actually આપણે કર્મ, good કર્મ, bad કર્મ હવે આપણે રહ્યા નહીં આપણી માટે. આપણે ખાલી એને જોવાનું છે. We are free from karma. Charging karmas. You understand? હવે જે બી છે તે ઇફેક્ટવાળો ભાગ રહે, રિઝલ્ટ પાર્ટ. સો હવે રિઝલ્ટમાં કઈ રીતે રહેવાનું? You understand? પણ તારો ક્વેશ્ચન શું હતો?
that result that you're suffering, can you change that result by prayers and is it possible to change
The outcome, the results.
to lessen the effect of the outcome?
The effects of the, okay. To lessen the effects, yeah. We can do the prayers, right? And we also do our sincere efforts, whatever you want to, whatever you desire for the outcome, right? And આપણે prayers પણ કરીએ. So sometimes prayers do help. Not necessary every time it will lessen the effect. But દાદાએ કહ્યું છે કે if you do this satsang and prayers and 3 mantras specially, so the effects જે છે somewhat you can એને હું શું કહેવાય, you can થોડી લાઇટ થઈ શકે. ખબર પડી? Effects part.
So it is possible to lessen
Yes, yes. With these and 3 mantra, દાદાજી એની માટે કહ્યું. So why they call it સંસાર વિઘ્ન નિવારક ત્રિમંત્ર? દાદા ભગવાન ત્રિમંત્ર. નિષ્પક્ષપાતી સંસાર વિઘ્ન નિવારક દાદા ભગવાન ત્રિમંત્ર. We're going to take we have kept one special session for 3 mantra. How to say 3 mantra with what upyog and nididhyasan, and what to how to pray with each line. આપણે લેવાના છે એનું એક સ્પેશિયલ સેશન. આફ્ટર દેટ આ જેટલા બેઠા છે અહીંયા બધા એવરી ડે યુ વિલ બી ડુઈંગ 3 મંત્ર. વિધાઉટ ફેલ યુ વિલ ડુ ઇટ. You will be wanting to do it. અને એવું થશે જ કે હું ત્રિમંત્ર બોલું. And you will enjoy જેટલા ત્રિમંત્રમાં એક એક લાઈન બોલતા તમને આનંદ આવશે. You will feel, yeah. After that session, we will, આખું તમને explain કરીશું ત્રિમંત્રનું. Pranavbhai has explained where in great detail ત્રિમંત્રાસનું. બધા જે યુથમાં જોડાય છે ઓનલાઈનમાં એમને ખ્યાલ હશે. એટલે એટલી ડેપ્થમાં તો મેં નથી. I just have one liners or two liners in the form of prayers. But how to have a pure focused upyog while reciting each line. ત્રિમંત્રમાં જે છે ને તે આખું એનાથી એટલે ત્રિમંત્રથી every day in the morning before you leave for your work use the Suryanarayan Bhagwan every day. You know what Mota Dada and Kanu Dadaji used to do? Has anybody seen Kanu Dadaji doing prayers in sunlight? Looking at the sun. Mota Dada, Dada Bhagwan, Mota Dada Shri. Every day, whenever they leave the house for some work, they do the prayers.
The first time the daily sun rays fall upon his body, whether he's inside the house or outside the house. As soon as, if the window is there, some homes have windows that have, eastern sky facing. If the sun comes, Dadaji is sitting. As soon as the first ray hits him, he's so present in that moment at that time. Or we are inside the house and you're walking outside. You are in the shadow of the house, and now between some tree branches, some sun rays come. He steps into that light. He stops. We all are in the mindset that, oh, we have to go get into the car. No, he will stop right there and he'll just finish his prayers. Then he will go into the car.
Sunlight is, Lord Suryanarayan is the great medium for us, especially in the sun rays of Lord Suryanarayan. It's a vehicle of Lord Suryanarayan. Through that vehicle, sun rays vehicle, we can send our prayers in the universe. Right? Because of the fifth time cycle, the time cycle we are in, our prayers cannot reach to all those gods and goddesses beyond certain level. Because of this time cycle we are in. In good times, yes. But in time cycle, in fifth time cycle, yeah. So if we use the sun rays as a vehicle, right, as a medium, and through the sun rays, you can send your prayers. Because sun rays to કેટલું distance હશે? What's the distance between Earth and Sun? Yeah. So it reaches everywhere, right? It can reach even other planets as well. Mahavidya Kshetra, we don't know how far it is and it's just beyond our imagination. But at least our prayers can go beyond this earthનું atmosphereનું threshold ને શું કહેવાય? There is a special word for it. Or earthની orbit cross કરીને જે આખું layer cross થાય ને, so then it goes this. Stratosphere? Stratosphere? Yeah. So it crosses the threshold and it goes beyond that. એટલે in the prayers, the most important prayer is doing three mantra. That's why it's called Sansar Vidna Nivarak. It removes all the obstacles in our relative life and living. And why? Because it's given by Sampuja Shri Dada Bhagwan, right? So a force काम करे छे, company. And it's also an agna as well. So this agna, first this agna of three mantra was given by Rishabdev Dada Bhagwan as a agna. Okay, say, recite all the three mantras together, right? That happened in 1 million 1 million years ago. Today the same history is repeating. Dada Bhagwan had the same vision that this is what's lacking in today's times, right? So he said, recite together. The three mantra, namaskar vidhi, it helps everything, right? Dada ne પણ પ્રેયર થાય. અને ગોડ્સ એન્ડ ગોડેસીસ આપણે ઘરમાં જે પણ માનતા હોય, we can do the prayers, right? So it will be not necessarily every time it will happen, but it can help. એની માટે છે. બટ હવે તો દાદાએ આપણને શું શીખવાડ્યું છે કે વોટ એવર ધ રિઝલ્ટ્સ આર, sometimes there are forces like that. So prayers do help. But prayers કયા ભાવથી હોય? લઘુત્તમ ભાવે prayers હોય. અને as long as the prayers are neutral, it works better. The more neutral the prayer is, and the more laghu bhav, આપણો લઘુત્તમ ભાવ. These are the two key requirements for any prayer to work. If we keep asking just for ourselves and for our benefit in the form of prayers, then it does not get answered. But if it's a neutral prayer, for general welfare of both the parties, it will help. Understand? એટલે આવું છે. હવે ગુરુ પૂર્ણિમા, why we attend ગુરુ પૂર્ણિમા? ચાલો હવે આપણે ઇન્ટરેક્ટિવ થોડું રાખીએ સેક્શન. Why do we attend ગુરુ પૂર્ણિમા? આપણે આવ્યા અહીંયા 3-4 days. Why? ગુરુ પૂર્ણિમાનું સિગ્નિફિકન્સ શું છે? Yes. Yeah. આપણે એપ્રિશિએટ કરીએ, to have gratitude, right? Respect, appreciation, gratitude towards Dada. That's the most important thing. ગુરુ પૂર્ણિમા, that's the most important thing. બરાબર છે. પછી આપણને જ્ઞાન મળ્યું, રાઈટ? તો હવે દાદાજીની તો વેરી ક્લોઝ ટુ પૂનમ, રાઈટ? દાદાજીનું જો પૂર્ણિમા થઈ ગઈ હોય, હા, તો ભાઈ દાદાજી આપણને કામમાં લાગતે? યા, પણ એ પૂર્ણિમા વેરી ક્લોઝ ટુ ધી એબ્સોલ્યુટ. Dada state very close to the absolute state. Just little bit. Yeah, below that absolute state. That's why he takes birth as Gnani Purush. Comes in our life. Just have a relative world like us, life and living like us, and he helps us. He shows us the way. Right? તો દાદાજીનું તો એ સ્ટેટ છે, બરાબર? તો આપણું સ્ટેટ કયું છે? આપણને પણ જ્ઞાન મળ્યું ને. તો આફ્ટર જ્ઞાન, where do we stand in the form of our spiritual development? આપણે ક્યાં છે, કયા લેવલે છે? Think about the moon.
Analogy should be moon. What's the stage?
So આપણું સ્ટેજ ક્યાં છે મહાત્માઓનું? Huh?
Crescent moon. Crescent moon.
Right. Bijno Chandra, everyone knows? Right? So that's our state. અને પછી એમાંથી થતા 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 ફૂલ મૂન, રાઈટ? એટલે આપણામાં આપણું જે અંદર આપણને રિયલાઇઝેશન થયું છે એ આપણા સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલ એક્સપિરિયન્સ, આપણો શુદ્ધાત્મા એક્સપિરિયન્સથી ગ્રો થતા 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 સુધી ફૂલ મૂન સુધીનું. That's why we have Dada's darshan, right? દાદાજી આપણી જોડે હતા ત્યારે દાદાજીના ફૂલ મૂન સ્ટેટના આપણે ગુરુ પૂર્ણિમાના દર્શન કરતા હતા, બરાબર ને? હવે આજે દાદાજી નથી આપણી સાથે, રાઈટ? તો આપણે અંદરથી બી એ ફૂલ મૂન સ્ટેટના આપણે એપ્રિશિએટ કરીએ, ગ્રેટિટ્યૂડ રાખીએ, અને પ્રે કરીએ દાદાજીને કે આપના દેવી દશા આપણી પણ થાય. બરાબર છે. એટલે ગુરુ પૂર્ણિમાનું આ બે સિગ્નિફિકન્સ છે. એટલે ગુરુ અને પૂર્ણિમા. એટલે ગુરુનું પણ સિગ્નિફિકન્સ છે અને પૂર્ણિમાનું સિગ્નિફિકન્સ લાઈક ધ સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલ ડેવલપમેન્ટ. એટલે આપણો એક્સપિરિયન્સ, હું શુદ્ધાત્મા છું, હું શુદ્ધાત્મા છું. આપણું નોઈંગ સીઈંગ નેચર એ અંદર આખો થતો જાય, ડેવલપ થતો જાય. હવે છોકરાઓને ખબર પડી? ડુ યુ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ ઓલ ધીસ યંગ વન્સ? કોણ છે? અનિશ છે? કોણ છે?
Anish is there, and then Shivam is there, and rest of them I don't know their names yet. But I know who their parents are.
Do you know the significance of Gurupurnima? Understand?
Can you explain it in English? Yes. So Gurupurnima is actually the context, yeah? So why have we come here? What do we celebrate at Gurupurnima? Or what is the intent, what is the purpose? Guru and yes, Dada Bhagwan as our Guru. Okay? So we want to appreciate and show our gratitude towards our Guru, that's number one. And why Purnima? You know what Purnima is? It's full moon. So the day of Guru Purnima is a full moon day. And that is the brightest moon of all full moons. So every month there is one full moon, right? There are 12 moons in a year. So amongst the 12 full moons, this is the brightest. The intensity of the moon's light is brightest in this month. And that's why it is Guru Purnima. Now, it is the state of the Guru that is like a full moon, full circle. And that is the fully developed understanding of Gnani. That's the Purnima part. So he asked the question, if Guru is full moon state, what is the state of us when we receive Gnani? Anyone? We answered that. So it's like a crescent moon. It's just after the new moon, you have a crescent moon. And then, as the lunar cycle lapses, day after day, night after night, you're going to have the full moon state. It will reach from crescent moon, yes, then half moon, and then 3/4 and to the full moon. So the analogy there is that our state of being is illuminated with knowledge, like a crescent moon. And then the illumination part, which is through the knowledge, the light which is called prajna. And that allows us to see more and more, and therefore we know more and more. And we grow. And that is the analogy, that you reach the state of your Guru. Does that make sense? Yeah? Do you have any questions about it? Yeah. Anything, any thought that rises after hearing this? Okay.
બધાને આજ્ઞાની એપ્લિકેશનમાં શું તકલીફ પડે? Anyone have questions on that?
Agni application? Any trouble with that?
You start your day off with the intention of staying there. And as the day goes and it progresses, sometimes it's just hard to keep rearing off. But staying in that plan is probably the most challenging part.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. But at a continuity. Yeah, very much. Yeah. A continuity. So in continuity in upyog, right? There is a lack of continuity in your upyog. That's why you feel that you are not staying in ajna. Barabar? Right. So why does that happen? Right?
Circumstances, is that what you said?
Circumstances, different forces, different results during the day in the form of effects, right? Sufferings, relationships, all kind of things, right?
And your decision? Lack of conviction.
Lack of conviction, but yeah, sometimes the conviction is there and still other forces, yeah. So,
Yeah, we were discussing that today morning with Sejal. Sejal was saying that being a mother, right there, see? So the child just comes and, demands or asks this naturally, and therefore she was saying that it distracts. Sometimes she's doing charan vidhi, and then, right? So that kind of vyavahar comes claiming upon you. When vyavahar comes claiming on you, there is still ajna, because you can at least stay in the first ajna.
then what happens, like if Suri comes and you are doing charan vidhi, you want to do charan, you want to continue doing your charan vidhi, but then you feel distracted. So what you're doing is, Suri, go away. I'm busy. I'm doing my charan vidhi. Right? એના કરતાં તે ટાઈમે આપણે એને you tell Sejal, say, okay Sejal, can you stop here for a minute? Okay? And then, okay, yes Suri, what's happening? Oh mom, this. Okay, give me 10 minutes and then, right? So then she won't bother you, right? But if you try to say, Suri, go away, I'm doing my charan vidhi, double force thi આવે. ખબર પડી ને? એટલે, the file has come, so you have to attend the file. You don't have to, you understand? You can't ignore the files. So, okay, attend it, and then you go back to your charan vidhi. ખબર પડી ને? એટલે, not necessarily every time she will bother you, but next time she will understand that last time mommy told me to wait for 10 minutes. So that would help for the next time if she sees you, she says, okay, let her finish and then I will ask. You understand? But when we ignore, then they don't learn. But you show them, then they might say, oh, okay, I might have to wait. They might wait next time. ફાઇલ આવે તો દાદાજી કે ફાઇલને ધક્કો નહીં મારો. Attend the file. Attend the file. અધરવાઇઝ એ ફાઇલ પાછી તો આવવાની જ છે. ખબર પડી ને? રાઈટ? એટલે ધક્કો નહીં મારવાનો ફાઇલ્સ આવે તો. અને ખાસ કરીને આ સેશન કાલનું હતું પણ આપણે હમણાં લઈ લઈએ. કન્ટિન્યુટીનો ઉપયોગ. ઇટ્સ કન્ટિન્યુટી કોઈની પણ ના રહે. એક પણ મહાત્મા એવો હોય નહીં કે જેને કન્ટિન્યુઅસ ઉપયોગ હોય. દાદાજીની વાત જુદી છે. દાદાજીને ઉપયોગ ક્યારે ના હોય એનું બોધરેશન હોય. ઇઝ નેવર આઉટ ઓફ ઉપયોગ. રાઈટ? દાદાજીને to live in, એમને એફર્ટ કરવો પડે to live in the relative world. એમને એફર્ટ મૂકવા પડે to live in the relative life world. ખબર પડે ને? અને આપણે એફર્ટ મૂકવા પડે how to remain detached from our relative living. એટલે ઉપયોગ. એટલે એની માટે ઉપયોગ જોઈએ આપણે. ઉપયોગમાં કન્ટિન્યુટી નહીં આવે, ધીરે ધીરે આવશે. ખબર પડી ને? From how many lives you've been living, I am the name bearer. કેટલી લાઈફના આપણા એકોઝ આવે છે આપણી સામે આજે in the form of વ્યવહાર. How many lives? Finite lives, right? તો હવે એટલા બધા એકોઝ you would like to suddenly disappear, right? After Gnan, is it going to happen? No. Those echoes will come. Everybody? Those echoes will come. Echoes will come, they will go away as well. So you do not have to worry about that, why there is no continuity. But because you know that you miss the upyog, that is your purusharth. Because you could see Sheetal was not in upyog for last half an hour or 1 hour or whatever. Right? So that's your purusharth actually. You understand? So let's capitalize on that purusharth. તો કેવી રીતે? રીસેટ. જ્યારે આપણને થાય કે આ ઉપયોગ નથી રહ્યો, that's the time, that's a good sign. So you take that sign and you reset. Okay, let me reset my upyog and restart again for next half an hour. So it takes small bites for upyog. We want to remain, it's our intention to remain in upyog for the whole day, entire day, but we cannot. So we take small bites now. Next half an hour, I want to live with Shuddha upyog.
Your question, Nilubai. મોર્નિંગમાં આપણે વાત કરતા હતા, that's you reset your upyog, not restart the ચરણ વિધિ. એમનો ક્વેશ્ચન એવો હતો કે ડિસ્ટ્રેક્શન આવે તો ચરણ વિધિ થતી હોય અને ડિસ્ટ્રેક્શન આવે, then do you need to restart the charan vidhi from beginning?
No. Just stop.
Right. Something to that effect.
Yes.
And then losing the focus continues.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing. So distraction or losing the focus on upyog. So you can reset the upyog, not restart the charan vidhi.
Over here, I'll give you example of Dada Bhagwan. Same question and same scenario. What used to happen with Dada Bhagwan, Mota Dada, right? Dada Bhagwan, whenever he was not doing satsang, continuous, he was in his vidhis, doing vidhis, continuous. At least, whenever he is not talking or not doing anything or no conversation, his vidhis, continuous. So sometimes, while Dadaji is there, no Mahatmas is there, right? Nobody's there, he's alone doing his vidhi, and suddenly our Mahatmas are so... No one used to knock on the door, they just come in. Jai Satchidananda Dadaji. Right? So Dadaji ચરણ વિધિ કરતા હોય તો દાદાજી એવું ના કહે કે જાઓ જતા રહો હમણાં, I am doing my ચરણ વિધિ. દાદાજી straight away. You will look at Shuddhatma, आओ ચંદુભાઈ, જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. So he will do his darshan. He won't say Satchidanand, he will see his Shuddhatma as a pure soul, Satchidanand, and Namaskar karse, right? So he stops there, he knows where he has stopped. ચરણ વિધિમાં એ ક્યાં સ્ટોપ થયું એમને ખબર હોય અંદર, એ રજીસ્ટર થઈ જાય એમને, એમનો ઉપયોગ એવો હોય કે આટલેથી સ્ટોપ થઈ મારી વિધિ. Then he will deal with Mahatma, whatever it is, and once the Mahatmas go away or there is no satsang, then he will start from that part. પાછી ત્યાંથી વિધિ ચાલુ થઈ જાય એમની. આવી રીતે કરતા હતા દાદા. પણ ફાઇલ આવી, ડિસ્ટ્રેક્ટ થયા તો you attend the file and you start again. આપણે બધું એટલું બધું ભરીને લાયા છે ને કે આપણને એટલો ફ્રી ટાઈમ મળવાનો જ નથી. ખબર પડી? એટલું બધું ઠોસીને અંદર ભરી લાયા છે. એટલે આપણે કહીએ ને લાઈફ ઇઝ વેરી ફાસ્ટ. આપણે બધું કર્મોની એટલું બધું ભરી લાયા છે, મસાલો બધો અંદર. That's why it's fast. ખબર પડી ને? એટલે to personal space and time, very important. But we can still find personal space and personal time while while dealing with all these files, if we know how to find it. એટલે ઉપયોગ, જ્યારે આપણને લાગે કે ઉપયોગમાં નથી રહ્યા, use it in a positive way. That, okay, you are telling me I was not upyog? Now let's be in upyog. So you convert in a positive manner. Like reset and restart. These two words, reset and restart. If it happens maybe 100 times, 200 times, is it a good sign or a bad sign? If it happens 200 times, you have to do reset and a restart. Or you had to do, say, 20, 30 times reset and so which is a good sign of upyog? You had to do 30 times. Is that a good sign that you only had to reset 30 times? Or you had to do 200 times? Which is a good sign of your alertness? Everyone has same answer. Manan says 200. That's good, yeah, 200. That shows that you are alert. You could see that you were not in upyog. But that doesn't suffocate. You can bother નહીં કરવું જોઈએ. ઉપયોગમાં નથી રહેવાતું શું થશે? What will happen? એની સાયકોલોજીકલ ઇફેક્ટ શું આવે આપણી ઉપર? વધારે ઉપયોગમાં ના રહેવાય. ખબર પડી ને? It will multiply. Every time say નથી રહેવાતું, it will multiply by 10 folds. And you won't be able to remain in upyog, stay in upyog. But every time it shows you that you are not in upyog, oh, that's a good sign. Okay, reset, restart, reset, restart. Sometime it will stay just for a minute, sometime it will stay for 5 minutes, sometime 10, sometime it might go for an hour. That's a good sign. Right? And sometime you might have, during the whole day, go by and you don't even realize that you are not in upyog. It will happen. It's a continuity. But what you have to remember, 2 words. Reset and restart. Reset and restart. So that will bring you back in upyog. Now, I was just talking to Manan. We have to live this Akram Vignan, this science, in one word application. The more one word dictionary you have, you will have better upyog. Rather than you understand by reading it or by listening it or one word. Live science in one word only. Now reset and restart is one word. But is it practical or not? Right? So find the practical ways of staying in upyog. And એની માટે જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ use કરવાનું. So while you're resetting the upyog, what do you say? Normally we say Jai Satchidanand when we meet other Mahatmas, right? But other Mahatmas with you is your file number 1. You understand? So you say, Mahatma Jai Satchidanand. Understand? You remind file number 1, you are Mahatma. Mahatma, file number, Mahatma Jai Satchidanand. Now what is Jai Satchidanand? Jai Satchidanand, real meaning તો શું છે કે આપણું knowing and seeing, આપણું innate nature. And the result is bliss. Total bliss. Absolute bliss. Knowing and seeing, absolute bliss. But when we say Jai Satchidanand, એટલે આપણે આપણા knowing, seeing ના ઉપયોગમાં આવવાનું છે. Focused awareness of knowing and seeing. એનો ઉપયોગમાં આવવાનું. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. એટલે કહેવાનું ફાઇલને કે આપણી પાસે જે જોવા જાણવાનો નોઈંગ સેઈંગનો જે આપણને કી પ્રાપ્ત થઈ છે, વિઝન પ્રાપ્ત થયું છે, let's deal with it, with the files, with this ઉપયોગ. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ આવી રીતે કહેવાનું. So every time you do reset, you say Jai Satchidanand to yourself. And what is Jai Satchidanand is nothing but to see and to know. Means observation, observe. Observe માં બધું આવી જાય. બરાબર ને? So every time you say Jai Satchidanand, okay, let's start observing. હમણાં મને જોડે વાત થઈ હતી ને, લેટ્સ. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ કરીને આપણે લેટ્સમાં આવી જવાનું. Reset, restart. Let's. Jai Satchidanand. Let's deal with the files, or let's deal with whatever you're doing. Let's remain in upyog. You can say these words. એટલે આપણે જે ઉપયોગમાં રહેવાનો ટ્રાય કરીએ છીએ તો ફાઇલ બી આપણી જોડે આવે. એટલે આપણી ઇનર ડિસિપ્લિન એ નેમ બેરર સુધીને પણ પહોંચે. So because of our inner discipline, upyog, the name bearer will come in upyog in his relative world, worldly living. એટલે આવી રીતે આવવાનું છે. ના ઓકે, અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ? એટલે રીસેટ, રીસ્ટાર્ટ એન્ડ જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. આ બધા પ્રયોગ આપણે સંધ્યાબેનનો તો ખ્યાલ છે. We had about 30 pages of different experiments we can do with file number 1. Jai Satchidanand. So this one I use with Bhaveshbhai quite often because हमारे ત્યાં બહુ મહાત્માસ નથી. So Bhaveshbhai is the only Mahatma for me. We have few other Mahatmas, but they are scattered and they are too busy in their own world. So yeah, એટલે reset, restart. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ ફાઇલને કહીએ એટલે ફાઇલ સમજી જાય કે someone is after me. ખબર પડી? Someone is after me to telling me to remain in upyog. એટલે ફાઇલ નંબર 1 ઓટોમેટિકલી ડિસિપ્લિનમાં આવી જશે. ખબર પડી? You understand? અને જ્યારે ડિસિપ્લિન મેન્ટેન ના રહે તો એને ખબર બી પડશે કે નો આઈ એમ આઉટ ઓફ ઉપયોગ. પાછું ઉપયોગમાં આવે. રીસેટ, રીસ્ટાર્ટ. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. પાછા આવી ગયા. દાદા આવું કરતા હતા. દાદા આવું કરતા. કન્ટિન્યુઅસ ઉપયોગ. પણ જ્યારે આવો ઉપયોગ બ્રેક થાય, ફાઇલ આવે, he attends the file with 100% focus. He never ignored file. Once he was having lunch and someone said, Dada, Chandubai आया છે. Chandubai has come, he is waiting at the door. Right? Okay. What? He acknowledged that Chandubai is waiting at the door to meet Dada. He just acknowledged. And he stopped there. Nobody? He didn't let that acknowledgement disturb his upyog. That acknowledgement just remains as an acknowledgement only for that fraction of the second. While other Mahatma told Dada that Chandubai आया छे, just for that time he acknowledged, he attended the file, he listened to him, and then he put it in the pocket. But he didn't let that note disturb his upyog. You understand? He acknowledged it. Okay, fine. And then he continued having his lunch, to take his lunch, with full focus and upyog. એટલે દાદા શું કહે કે અમે ખાલી જાણીએ, પણ એ જાણેલું પછી અમારું જે પ્રેઝન્ટમાં જે કામ કરતા હોય એને ઉપયોગમાં ડિસ્ટર્બ નહીં થવા દઈએ. We remain focused in whatever the activity until that file is finished. એટલે હવે જમવાની બી એક ફાઇલ છે ને, to have food. So until that file was finished, right, with Sambhava Nikal, he said, okay, after he finished his lunch, he says, okay, Chandubhai, आओ. દાદા કે અમે જાણીએ ખાલી, બટ એટલે આપણે બી ફાઇલ આવે ત્યારે આવી રીતે જાણવાનું, રાઈટ? ઇટ્સ વેરી હાર્ડ ટુ રિમેન ઇન ઉપયોગ લાઈક દેટ. દેટ્સ હાઉ દાદાજી એમનો ઉપયોગ આવો હતો. એટલે આપણે શું થાય, આપણું ફ્રેન્ડ કોઈ આવે, આપણું બેસ્ટ ફ્રેન્ડ, રાઈટ, આપણે 10 વર્ષથી મળ્યા ના હોય અને બેસ્ટ ફ્રેન્ડ એને ઊભું હોય અને વેઇટ કરતું હોય, ઓકે ઇટ્સ વેઇટિંગ, આપણું ધ્યાન ફોકસ ત્યાં જતું રહે. ઉપયોગ આવ્યો, દાદાજીનો ઉપયોગ આવો હતો. ઇવન ધો ફાઇલ્સ આવે, બટ ઇટ ડઝન્ટ ગેટ ડિસ્ટ્રેક્ટેડ. He acknowledges, but remains in present. એટલે આજનું સેશન છે, બટ વોટ ડીડ યુ, ગુરુ પૂર્ણિમાનું સિગ્નિફિકન્સ તો બધા સમજ્યા જ છે, રાઈટ? બટ વોટ્સ ધ બિગેસ્ટ ટેક અવે ઓફ ધ હોલ સેશન? 3 words. Huh? Reset, restart, Jai Satchidanand. Reset, say Jai Satchidanand and restart the upyog again. Means you tell, yeah, reset, Jai Satchidanand. Jai Satchidanand means to deal with our knowing and seeing nature in our relative life and living. Simple. Dealing with file number 1, right? And files world, not our world, files world, right? In our vyavhar, with our knowing and seeing nature. That's Jai Satchidanand. Right? Normally we take Jai Satchidanand is just like a formal greeting. No, it's not like that. Jai Satchidanand is an upyog. How to deal with file number 1, how to deal, to know and to see. File number 1. So that's Jai Satchidanand. But in a Purushat way. But when we do this Purushat, then our innate nature will open up. જ્ઞાતા દ્રષ્ટા પરમાનંદ સ્વભાવ ખબર પડી ને. પણ અત્યારે તો આપણે પુરુષાર્થ લેવા ઉપયોગ લેવલે છે ને, એટલે જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ આવી રીતે યુઝ કરવાનો. ટાઈમ તો છે પણ આપણે થોડું લઈ લઈએ. બોલો. ના, આપણું રિયલાઇઝ સ્ટેટ, પણ હજુ રિયલાઇઝેશન થયું છે, પણ રિયલાઇઝ સ્ટેટ આપણું હજુ એટલું ડેવલપ થયું નથી. ખબર ને, આપણે રિયલાઇઝેશન ઇઝ સ્ટીલ ધેર, ઇટ વિલ નેવર ગો અવે until our ultimate liberation. It's always there, will remain there. પણ આપણને એનો એક્સપિરિયન્સ તો આવો છે ને, we should be able to experience that full moon state. We see that experience, Dada's experience, right? Very close to the full moon state. Simananda Swami, full moon state. And Dada, very close to Simananda Swami, close to the absolute experience, just a little bit. That's why Gnani Purush is the most important and divine instrument in the moksha marg. Because Tirthankar Bhagwan will never come into our world and guide you. They are vitraga. They don't do khatpat for your moksha. No, they don't do that. So why Dadaji did khatpat for us? Why? Dadaji is also vitrag. Why he did khatpat? ખટપટિયા વિતરાગ કેમ કયા? Why? Because એમની કલ્યાણ ભાવ, શું કહેવાય ઇંગ્લિશમાં? કલ્યાણ ભાવ. કલ્યાણ ભાવ. દાદાજીનો જે કલ્યાણ ભાવ હતો ને, કલ્યાણ ભાવ તો બધાને ખબર હોય, રાઈટ? એવરીવન નોઝ કલ્યાણ ભાવ. તો દાદાની કલ્યાણ ભાવના એટલી બધી સ્ટ્રોંગ, મોટા દાદાની, કનુ દાદાજીની, ચંદ્રકાંત દાદાની, એટલી બધી સ્ટ્રોંગ ફ્રોમ સો મેની લાઈવ્સ. યુ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ? તો એ કલ્યાણ ભાવ એમનો ડિસ્ચાર્જ થવા માટે they take birth as a જ્ઞાની પુરુષ. કલ્યાણ ભાવ ડિસ્ચાર્જ થઈ જવા માટે. અને આપણે આપણો ડુઅરશીપનો ભાવ ડિસ્ચાર્જ થવા માટે આપણો બર્થ હોય છે. અને એમનો કલ્યાણ ભાવ ડિસ્ચાર્જ થવા માટેનો બર્થ હોય છે. આટલો જ ફરક છે.
Okay, so the Gnani Purush takes birth to carry out the benevolence towards humanity. And we take birth to carry out our doorship. Benevolence is Kalyan Bhav. Benediction. Yeah.
To live other people's real welfare. Right? All the people who wants to attain moksha, to live for their real welfare, to be instrumental in their real welfare. તો એમનો કલ્યાણ ભાવ ડિસ્ચાર્જ થાય છે. He is free from doership. But આ બીજાનું કલ્યાણ કરવું છે, that is also a ભાવ. Ultimately, he has to be freed from that bhav as well. એ સ્ટેટ કયું? આપણું સ્ટેટ કયું? So Vitrag Bhagwan to Tirthanga Bhagwan, they also Kalyan instruments, but they don't have this Kalyan bhav. Do you understand? They're way beyond that. The body itself is Kalyan. Do you understand? Absolute. But એમનો કલ્યાણ ભાવ, જ્ઞાની પુરુષનો કલ્યાણ ભાવ જે ચાર્જ થયો હતો, કેમ કરીને બીજાનું કલ્યાણ થાય? How do I benefit other people? The bliss I experience, this permanent bliss, how do I remain instrumental in making other people, right, feel the same permanent bliss experience? A kalyan bhav discharge made their birth. And આપણું હજુ we are in doership. તો આપણું doership ખાલી કરવાનું છે. So this life is to free doership બધું discharge થઈ જાય અને નોન ડુઅરશીપ ધીરે 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 આપણું કલ્ટિવેટ થતું જાય. આપણા બર્થ એની માટે છે. યુ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ? બટ હવે મહાત્માઓના બે વસ્તુ છે. મહાત્માઓની કલ્યાણ ભાવના પણ હોય છે અને નોન ડુઅરશીપ બી હોય છે. સો નાઉ અવર નેક્સ્ટ બર્થ વિલ બી ફોર 2 reasons. બે ભાવ ખાલી થશે. ડુઅરશીપનો તો આપણે એ પ્રોસેસ તો ચાલુ જ રહેશે. But we also આપણે કરીએ છીએ ને જગત કલ્યાણની ભાવના. So our next lives will benefit other people to guide them in the moksha path, depending on everyone's kalyan bhavana inside them and the intensity of it. એ બધાની જુદી જુદી ભાવના હોય કલ્યાણ ભાવનાની. કોઈને એમ હોય કે મારું જ કામ કાઢીને હવે નીકળી જવું, કોઈને એમ હોય કે કેમ કરીને બધા પામે. બધાનું એક સરખું ના હોય ને કલ્યાણ ભાવના. એટલે એ રીતે આટલો ડિફરન્સ છે. એટલે આ ખટપટિયા વિતરાગ આ રીતે છે. અમેઝિંગ નહીં? કલ્યાણ ભાવ ખાલી થઈ જવા માટે હી હેઝ ટુ ટેક બર્થ. એટલે આવું છે. એટલે સાયન્સ કેટલું પાવરફુલ છે. અને કલ્યાણ ભાવ પણ છેલ્લે તો he has to free himself from even કલ્યાણ ભાવ. તો પછી આ બીજા બધા જે પર ભાવો છે આપણા બધા, એટલે ગભરાવાનું નથી. 3 words: reset, restart. Reset, જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ, restart. Reset, જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ, restart. એનાથી તમને બોધરેશન નહીં રહે કે મારો ઉપયોગ ના રહ્યો, but your resolution will become stronger, your conviction becomes stronger and stronger. If you do 200 times, that means 200 times you give, તમારું conviction strong થશે. And your ઉપયોગ revolutions ની frequency, revolutions એ બી વધતા જશે. The revolutions in your ઉપયોગ, બેઉ ફાયદો થાય. એટલે નેગેટિવ પાર્ટને પોઝિટિવિટીમાં કન્વર્ટ કરો. ડોન્ટ ટેક ઇટ એઝ અ નેગેટિવ. અક્રમ વિજ્ઞાનમાં નેગેટિવ વર્ડ જ નથી. There is no negative છે જ નહીં. Everything is positive. We just need to how to convert, how to look for positive in there. ખબર પડી ને? એટલે હવે કોઈને થશે નહીં કે મારાથી ઉપયોગ નથી રહેતો. After this session, if you have understood well, right? નહીં તો એની અસર બહુ રહે. મારાથી બોલનારું કોણ છે? Who says મારાથી? તો આપણે કઈ સાઈડમાં બેસી ગયા? જે સાઈડથી છૂટવાનું છે, ડિટેચ રહેવાનું છે, આપણે એ સાઈડમાં બેસીને વાત કરીએ. And how is going to benefit us? No, it can't. એટલે આપણે આપણી સીટમાં રહીને બધું ડીલિંગ કરવાનું. એટલે this is the key for today. અને એટલે આટલું બધાને હવે કોઈને પ્રોબ્લેમ નહીં થવો જોઈએ. The same, આ ઘર ઘર કી કહાની. ઇન્ડિયા ઓનલાઈન સત્સંગ, ધ સેમ થિંગ. મારાથી ઉપયોગમાં નથી રહેવાતું, મારાથી આજ્ઞામાં નથી રહેવાતું. ભાવેશભાઈ તમે શક્તિ આપો. Then I says, હું કેવી રીતે શક્તિ આપું? શક્તિ is within you. You ask દાદા, અને દાદા પાસેથી શક્તિ માંગો અંદર. Why are you asking me? I have to ask Dada myself for Shakti, then how can I give Shakti to you? Right? એટલે આપણી અંદર જ છે બધું. But we need to connect. ખબર પડી ને? We need to connect within. And to remain connected. ખબર પડી ને? ઇન્ટરનેટનું કનેક્શન જતું રહે તો શું થાય? પણ આપણું કનેક્શન કોઈ દિવસ જાય નહીં. ધીસ કનેક્શન આપણું, આ કનેક્શન તો આખા યુનિવર્સ સાથેનું કનેક્શન છે. એટલે બે રીતનું કનેક્શન છે. ધીસ ડિવાઇન કનેક્શન આખા યુનિવર્સમાં આપણને ડેવલપમેન્ટ માટે જ્યાં જ્યાં આપણને એવા ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ્સ મળે, કલ્યાણ ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ, શિવ સ્વરૂપ કલ્યાણ ઇન્સ્ટ્રુમેન્ટ, આપણને ત્યાં પહોંચતા કરી દે એવું કનેક્શન છે. ખબર પડી ને? અને બીજું કનેક્શન કે આપણું બ્રહ્માંડનું જે બોડીલી કનેક્શન છે, ઉદ્ગરનું, એનાથી આપણને છોડાવે એટ ધ સેમ ટાઈમ. એટલે યુનિવર્સનું જે આપણું વાસ્ટ સ્પ્રેડ હતો, વી કુડ વોન્ડર અરાઉન્ડ એનીવેર ઇન ધ યુનિવર્સ, એ આખું એ બોડી પર લાઈને મૂકી દીધું. યુ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ? અધરવાઇઝ infinite wanderings, unlimited, no limit, boundaryless. આપણને હવે આ માઇન્ડ, સ્પીચ એન્ડ બોડીની બાઉન્ડ્રીમાં આવી ગયા આપણે. હવે કેટલું મોટું કહેવાય આશીષ? હવે આટલું જ બાકી રહ્યું બસ. એટલે આખા બ્રહ્માંડની બિફોર જ્ઞાન we could have wandered around anywhere in different life forms, anywhere in the universe. પણ હવે આપણું નક્કી જ થઈ ગયું કે this planet and the next destination is, આખું ફિક્સ થઈ ગયું હવે લિંક. આ લિંક સાચવવી પડે. ગુરુપૂર્ણિમા એની માટે છે. આ લિંક આપણી મજબૂત થાય. We remain connected and we remain linked in. LinkedIn profile comes here. આ તો બહુ પહેલાં વાત કરી છે. આઈ થિંક આપણે એક એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ આપેલો સેલ્ફી, રાઈટ? સેલ્ફી હવે તો કોઈ બોલતું જ નથી સેલ્ફી. હા, બટ સેલ્ફીનો એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ બહુ પહેલાં આપેલો, 5-6 years ago મેબી. એટલે આ બધા એક્સપેરિમેન્ટ આપણે ફાઇલ નંબર 1 સાથે લેવા પડે. બટ એક નક્કી કરો કે મારે સાયન્સ 1 વર્ડમાં જ જીવવું છે. 1 word. Any word from Dada's books or Satsang or any word. Just pick 1 word and live that word. તો જ્ઞાન એવી રીતે ખુલ્લું થાય. Understand? Live that word. Not to understand. Understand તો કરવું પડશે. To live that word. But આપણે સમજીએ કે સાંભળવાથી જ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગ થાય છે. No, not like that. By living science. So you have to live that word. By reset, you can live it. Restart, you can do it. Live it. Right? Jai Satchidanand. Now you will live Jai Satchidanand in the form of your knowing, seeing, upyog. Not just to say Jai Satchidanand. When we meet when we meet Mahatmas, when we say Jai Satchidanand, what do we do there? એમની અંદર દાદા જોઈ અને દાદા ફૂલ મૂન સ્ટેટ સ્વરૂપે પ્રકાશમાન થાય. ખબર કે દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર હો. એ રીતે જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ એમના સોલમાં જોઈને આપણે કરીએ. અંદરથી આવું આપણી પ્રેયર હોય. જસ્ટ હેપન્સ 2-3 સેકન્ડ, દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર, આટલું જ જોવાનું. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ કરતી વખતે ખબર પડે ને. એટલે એમના પણ થાય ને આપણા પણ થાય. કારણ કે આપણે એમનામાં એ જોયું ને એટલે આપણામાં પણ પહેલું થાય. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ આવી રીતે મળીએ તો એ રીતે વિથ ફાઇલ નંબર 1 જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ મીન્સ ટુ યુઝ ઉપયોગ ટુ ડીલ વિથ ફાઇલ નંબર 1. ટુ રિમેઇન ઇન ઉપયોગ વિથ ફાઇલ નંબર 1's રિલેટિવ લિવિંગ. અહીંયા જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ આવી રીતે લેવાનું. When we meet other Mahatmas, when we greet them, જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ, ત્યારે દાદા ભગવાનના અસીમ જય જયકાર.
Most of us do Jai Satchidanand as a greeting. Yes? There is a deeper connection. Upyog. You have to do Jai Satchidanand with upyog. Upyog means applicability of it. And that is to say, prevail the truth, the reflective consciousness and the bliss in you as it did to Gnani Purush. So that is the actual upyog of saying Jai Satchidanand. And therefore you don't say Jai Satchidanand Jonathan, you say Jonathan Jai Satchidanand. Relative, real. Real Agna is number 2. Chris, Jai Satchidanand. But we say Jai Satchidanand Chris. So the first Jai Satchidanand goes to who? Anyone who's attuned into their full state. And then Chris remains Chris. So even in relative Agna application, Chris, you will understand Pranav is calling you. And then Pranav in Upyog form applicability says Jai Satchidanand. And then it is delivered at the right address because Chris precedes the Upyog of Pranav. Yeah. So there is an order. This is exactly how Dadaji explained that you have to first say the relative and then do Jai Satchidanand. But out of the traditional Kramic practice, Jai Shri Krishna, Reena. So we think that Jai Sachidanand Rina is exactly the same format that can continue. This is a flip understanding, Marg. You have to switch direction and understanding. Is a kram, not the same old, same old. Yeah?
When Dadaji used to do Jai Sachidanand, you see Kanu Dadaji or Mota Dada, he will do Jai Sachidanand like this. Right? If he sees 100 people, he will do 100 people like this. What's that? He sees Dada Bhagwan in each of you. Every person he looks at, every Mahatma he looks at, and he will do like this. Dada Bhagwan within himself and Dada Bhagwan in you. Like that. You watch any videos of Dada Bhagwan. Never stop. But both ways. આ દાદા ભગવાનના બ્લેસિંગ્સ તમારી અંદર જે દાદા ભગવાનનું સ્વરૂપ છે એ ખુલ્લું થાય. That's real સચ્ચિદાનંદ. So આ દાદાને ઓબ્ઝર્વ બી કરીએ ને એના પરથી આપણે બહુ શીખી. I was just talking to Manan that I saw Dada's photograph, Dada Bhagwan reading newspaper. And I saw that photo and I was saying, wow. He's miles apart while reading that newspaper. He's miles apart. You can see that in that photograph. You know? So, એમના ફોટોગ્રાફમાં પણ you can see that detachment, that detached living. You know? તો લાઈવ આપણને કેવું હોય? You understand? એટલે દાદાજીનું આ જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ આપણે આ રીતે શીખવાનું. તો I think જય સચ્ચિદાનંદનો પરમાર્થ બધાને ખબર પડી. Right, today? So we won't just greet. Now, Jai Sachidanand is Dada to Dada. Dada Bhagwan na Asim Jai Jayakar. That's how Dada Bhagwan lived. Vishwa Vandaniya. We think that we did Dada's darshan. No. Dadaji never gave his darshan to us. Dadaji always did our darshan. And then his darshan. First he આપણા દર્શન કર્યા છે દાદાએ પહેલા. વળી ને અને આપણને તો દર્શન કર્યાનો લાભ મળે છે. બટ દાદાજી did આપણા દર્શન કરે. કનુ દાદાજી દાદા ભગવાન. He takes advantage first. We think by his darshan we taking advantage. No, he is taking advantage of you. આવું છે એટલે જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ આવી રીતે કરે એટલે આપણે એને ગ્રીટિંગમાં નહીં લેવાનું, એને મિનિંગ સાથે લેવાનું. બરાબર. ચલો 5 to 10 છે. કાલે મળીએ. સો આપણે રીકેપ કરી લઈએ 1 મિનિટ ઓર નો આપણે કાલે રીકેપ કરીશું. કાલે રીકેપ કરીશું. હા ચાલો ત્રિમંત્ર બોલી લઈએ. ચાલો તમે બોલાવો.
નમો વિતરાગાય નમો અરિહંતાણમ નમો સિદ્ધાણમ નમો આયર્યાણમ નમો વત્સાયણમ નમો લોય સવસાહુણમ એસો પંચણમુક્કારો સવપાવપણાસણો મંગલાણમ ચ સર્વેસીમ પરમં હવૈ મંગલમ. ઓમ નમો ભગવતે વાસુદેવાય. ઓમ નમઃ શિવાય. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. Jai Sachidanand.
Did you did you understand the satsang we covered in Gujarati in the main hall? खबर नहीं पड़ी कोने खबर पड़ी कोने ना पड़ी ओपिनियन मानू सत्संग नहीं खबर पड़े so every day no. Yeah. આપણે we discussed about opinion what Dadaji explained about opinion. Okay. First you need to decide, make a resolve that I don't want to form an opinion about anyone, right? But can we stay like that? No. So what happens? During the, lots of opinions. Sometimes we form an opinion, sometimes we give an opinion openly when it's uttered through our speech. Right? So the opinion is sometimes hidden, but then as soon as the instrument comes in front of us, our file, what will happen? That stored opinion will be come in its expressive form. But the opinion cannot be expressed. It has to come to be expressed. It can only come in the form of speech. So sometimes it's hidden and sometimes it's in the expressive form, so it naturally uttered. Right? Sometimes you don't want to speak, but if it's stored inside and if it's been boiling inside, it will just come out. Right? That's why Dadaji has said speech is called open ego, right? Form of an open ego. Right? Speech. Ego can't speak, but ego is expressed. So opinion is expressed through the medium of ego and it comes in the form of speech. Then what happens? The opposite party, they will feel very happy, right? Yeah. So they also, then we have very happy conversation and interaction or whatever you call it. And there's exchange of opinions on both sides. But after a while you realize whatever happened should not have happened and I should correct my opinion. So even though the person is not in front of you, the other person, then you can still do pratikaman with yourself. If you do hearty repentance and pratikaman, then you can be free from that opinion. So even though the other person doesn't let go of their opinion, you are still free because you have done heartily repentance. But we have to be extremely careful, Dadaji says. Sometimes we have opinion about things like, say, iPhone. I can't do without iPhone. Right? Got to do. Some people, guys like me say, no, I need Android. I can't do without Android. For things we have opinions, right? Good, bad, whatever. The opinion about things is okay, that's not harmful, but opinion for the live instrument is extremely harmful. So sometimes, if it's not corrected, nature we'll have to meet them again in the natural cycle to become free of that opinion and opinion charged opinion. Understand? Opinion. Although we decide, Dadaji says, opinions always, it will come out because it's already stored in you. And why do we form an opinion? What's the basis of? What's the base? In everyday interactions, what happens? What we see is different, what we observe as a upyog is different, and what we take notes of is different. So everyone has diary, hidden diary inside us. So we keep making notes in there. Right? Nimeshbhai is like this and he did that and all that and should not have done that. So that notes is stored. And so it happened like last week, and when the next time I meet Nimesh, the diary, the notes in your diary will be expressed in the form of opinion. So as long as there are notes, opinion will be there. So clear your notes. If you keep notes like this on the relative side, and then you say, oh, Vyavasthi Shakti, no, they can't go together. Keeping notes and Vyavasthi Shakti is the real, actual doer, they don't go together. There is no Vyavasthit where there is any type of note. Everyone know, noting down? Yeah. So we note down in our own thing. The notes. So ત્યાં આગળ what Dadaji says. What happened there? What is to be seen, right? We missed on that part. Yes. What is to be seen? What is to be observed? Rather than what file saw, whatever file saw as a scene, and results connected with that scene or whatever, we got entangled in the scene. And that's why. I said one line there, anybody, એને આવું કર્યું, who understand that line? એને આવું કર્યું, ખબર ના પડે આપણને ગુજરાતીમાં? Everyone knows?
You wrote that.
Oh, એટલું તો આવડે છે બધાને ગુજરાતી.
Someone. Yeah. When someone did something.
He did that, she did that, right? Umaben?
Yes.
Does it happen during the daytime, like in your interaction, that he did that or she did? Once or twice in a day?
She's saying, when does it stop?
No, let me push you, maybe once or twice in a day. Yeah, everyone in the same boat. It will happen. It will happen. But that's the time we need to correct ourselves. Yeah. So, as soon as we say he or she, forget about what they did, but as soon as the he or she comes, we missed the first agna. We missed all the agnas. For if you miss first agna, you can't go, you can't progress. Your upyog won't progress towards the second, third and fourth. Right? So as soon as he or she, we see, we failed in the first agna itself. Right? So whoever did, whatever happened, have they got any authority to do it? Yet they are instrumental doers. But we saw them as if they have done it when they were instrumental doers, right? If we are instrumental doer, but they are not instrumental doers. So we can, for us we say, oh, we are instrumental doer. But what about the others? They are the same. So we miss that part. Right? So that's where Dadaji says, જે બન્યું તે જુઓ. શું કહ્યું છે? Learn what is to be seen. He did that and it happened through his medium. What's the difference? It happened through the medium of that instrument, right? Instrument. કેટલો ડિફરન્સ થઈ જાય. And he did that માં straight accusations. Yeah. So this is what we covered in the Satsang in Gujarat. It's just the basic things. But this basic thing is like in actual life and living, it's just bothering us every day. Right? Ghar ghar ki kahani. Every day. We need to apply the science, what's bothering us every day, every interaction. And we must learn the art of how to deal. How will you get out of it? You make a resolve, you decide, and still it happens. So you must learn how to become free from the opinions and opinionated state. That's what we covered, Umaben. Yeah. You don't understand Gujarati at all? Okay, all right. So that's fine. So here you have to remember Dada's actual words. Dada's words. Dada's Satsang. You have to tell file number 1, look, this is what happened. Talk to file number 1. Oh, this is happening. Nimesh, look, this is what happened. When you say it happened, then it won't affect you as much. Right? Then you will get out of that zone, he did it or she did it. It happened. And actually it happens. But when it happens, it doesn't remain as it happens. So we miss that part, so then we have to say it happened. So we have to go in the second stage of the correction. And if we even miss that part, then we have missed the boat. So then the opinion will be formed. Right? So then the Pratikaman stage. Yeah.
So I have even a worsened state, and that's probably one that others can relate to. So even after forming the opinion, then not only do I not talk about it, but then I'll see dinner like dinner, and everything will come out. And I can't stop it, and then I'm just doing so much opinion.
Also, you will discuss the same.
I'll have an opinion, and I'll say it to a third party.
Oh,
Third party.
so you're looking for the confirmation.
No, not even that, just to relieve.
To vent it.
Oh, to relieve, but actually it's not. Actually what it is you're trying to confirm your opinion that you are right or you are correct.
Yes.
That's why you're sharing it. Just to get some sort of support for your comfort zone, or not comfort zone, but for your opinionated state. Right? To support that base, you share.
This is where Dadaji's avtaran
Yeah.
was. So every time that happens, in that clip where I asked that question to Dadaji about helping me retain this opinionless instrumentality, where I don't become an opinion of even being an instrument. And he said, there I cannot help you, you help yourself. Because you have already known who is in you, and go to that side. Don't go to third party. This is you and yours. So that's where the confirmation we seek from another file is not required. Confirmation we should seek whether we are correct or not, even in slightly forming an opinion. It should remain internal dialogue, because only then it can be shed away. When enough of that happens, it will start bothering you, like, what am I doing? Why am I storing all this in me? All right, I'm going to clear out my drawer. All right, everything Salvation Army. There. It's gone. And then you start a clean slate at that point, and at that time your dependency only is on you.
Dadaji said one-liner there. How to talk with file number one there. When it forms an opinion, and you have to ask file number one, Mr. Patel, why you form an opinion? Why do you form an? Why do you do this? Do pratikama. Like that, you have to talk to yourself, Nimesh. Unless you talk to yourself, file number one, you will never progress in Gyan. So self-talk, how many Mahatmas here do self-talking? I know, every now and then we do. But when it happens, that's the time to talk. You know that mistake has happened, that's the time to talk. You must talk. Understand? Otherwise, indirectly or directly, you are on the mistake side. And then Pratikaman Mapan, like it won't be a hearty repentance. So you must talk to file number one and correct at the same time. So relative language versus real language. So you must use some dialogues. Whatever you remember. But just talk to file number one and correct it.
And this is something that progressively we all do in our relative life, okay? So, who is the youngest person in the audience? Is it you, Ayan? Yes? Okay. So, you have things on your mind. Who do you share it with? You have a best friend? You tell him everything? Yes? So, how many of us remember telling everything that happened in our life to the best friend? At some stage in our life we do that. Everyone does this. And that best friend, all of a sudden, doesn't get everything that happens in our life at some other stage of our life. Right? So who do we tell at that time? Ourselves. So instead of waiting years to actually depend on another person, if we start the dialogue within early on, we have the longest bandwidth available in the entire lifetime to be self-dependent. And that is the application of Gnani. You have that conversation with you as early as you can have, that, hey, Pranav, today morning, let's eat, let's walk, let's go and visit someone. Let's go to Gurupurnima. Let's book a ticket for Gurupurnima. Even in that, you are supposed to have that dialogue with you. That's why we call the book Dialogue with Dadaji. That is nothing but that.
Yes,
Exactly.
Dadaji's experience is only with the self-talk. Continuous with real language, dealing with file number one with real language. Yeah. Otherwise the Gnan che, but it won't work. You understand? And why do we talk to file number one? Is to change our dictionary. You keep on talking slowly, those words will be changed in your dictionary. And then all the one-liners you will remember, like let's, right? Like one word, let's. Then let's will start working for you. And you will remain as let's, not just file. Right? Then everything file will remain as files, not your files. And every day we say my file. Right? We say file as well, and then we say my file.
My file as well.
So that, just change these words. Replace my with, let's deal with this file. One word, but it has tremendous psychological effects. Understand? For our experience. So one word, you just keep changing the dictionary. Right? Not my file. Your file, Mr. Patel. Let's deal with it. You do your sincere effort, whatever is required for your work to be done, and I am there with you. Don't worry. Oh, I got a hard day today at the office, and what's going to happen, I don't know. Don't worry, Mr. Patel, I am with you. Dada is with us, okay? Just say Shuddhatma and just deal with it, and we'll be with you. Don't worry, I am with you. You do that. Yeah, so you will get some strength as well. And you will deal with more efficiency with those files. Self-talk, very important. And this let's word. So, biggest take of this yesterday's satsang and today's. Change your dictionary. Akram. Leave the science in one word. One-liners and one word. Keep it simple. And yesterday we also did that. Can someone recap what we covered yesterday night? Yeah, reset, restart. Reset, restart. Right? Every time we miss our upyog, reset. And then one word, I said, Jai Satchidanand. You said Jai Satchidanand to your file number 1. Means, Mr. Patel, come in your swabhav. Stay in your swabhav. Knowing and seeing nature. So we guide number 1. Like that. 3 words. Just put it in practice whenever you happen to remember these words and see the effect. I'm telling you. And then your alertness, revolutions will become, they will increase very fast. Otherwise, upyogi will be very scattered. So, that's good. So, reset. Jai Satchidanand means upyog, our resolve to stay in upyog, to deal with those 5, and then restart. So, Umaman, yesterday we discussed about this because you were not there, so we're repeating this. So, how many times you miss your upyog in a day? You don't remain in upyog or you miss it? How many times? 10 times, 20 times, 50 times?
Easily.
And how many times you realize that you have missed your upyog? How many times you realized it? Okay. Yeah. 20%.
50%.
50%. Okay. So then what happens to you? Oh, I cannot stay in my upyog, and do you feel like that sometimes? Yeah. So that's what we discussed yesterday. Whenever you see that you are not in upyog, use that as an opportunity. Understand? Use it as an opportunity to restart and reset your upyog. Yeah. Or you mean you don't want to deal with it, it means with the upyog side or the relative side? You want to push it aside? Upyog side, yeah. 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 Because your this Prakriti will tell you, oh, I'm keeping upyog every day and I'm trying to remain in upyog. I cannot. It's okay, just leave. Sometime it will tell you that. Right? So what it is, then you get defeated. You understand? Prakriti is waiting for that because it wants to be in its comfort zone. You understand? So you get defeated there when it shows like that. There you have to correct, use it as an opportunity. So you are educating your Prakriti rather than saying like this. You say, no, there's my alertness, chance to remain alert again. So revolution is very important. You know how many revolutions Dada has? In thousands. Revolution. So very important. So your resolutions, resetting, upyog, and restart. That we covered yesterday because you were not there. And because everyone needs this, even Bhaveshbhai, same thing. I learned from a movie, to be honest. A movie called 12th Fail. 12th Fail. Hindi movie. Yeah. It's about a young boy who is a metric failed student. He becomes an IPS officer in India, the toughest exam in India. And even students from IIT and IIMs, they participate for those posts and positions. And this guy is a real story. It's a real story. Very inspiring. It's made by Vidhu Vinod Chopra. You must be thinking why Bhaveshbhai is talking about Hindi movies. If we open to learn, learning is everywhere. That's how Dadaji, that's how Dadaji's knowledge blossomed, because wherever he sees knowledge. The Vishwavandaniya means, right? He respects, appreciates every instrument and learning from every living form instruments. Vishwavandaniya. So that's how it is. So just be open to learning, and you can learn anywhere you want to. The one yesterday, okay, separateness. Space mule but it's about 6 elements, and space is one of the elements, right? So why do we feel separateness? Say, when I pure soul, right? I'm Shuddhatma. Then you feel separate from Nimesh or not? Yeah, you do? Depending. Not 100%, but we feel that separateness. What's that? And why we can't feel separateness other times, and sometimes when we are in upyog, in a pure focused awareness, upyog, then we can feel separate. Why is that? Which element works there for the separateness? Yeah, space and time, yes. Space and time. But time there is a result as well, and plus the passing by as well. I mean, the passing by of that phase, whatever. So two way. So that time is called Vyavhar Kal, is converted into Samay. Means you become free from the entrapment of that's what Pranavbhai entrapped, that's the right word. You become free from the entrapment of the Vyavhar Kal. Right? So time related to our relative life and living is called Vyavhar Kal. Kal means time. Vyavhar means relative. Right? So it's relative time. Relative time related to the our discharge part.
Discharge.
Our discharge part. Right? relative to our discharge part. So whatever is happening in our relative part. So that's called relative time. And when you are an observer of file number 1, and whatever his file is facing as a vyavhar, right? And then you're pure observer, so that you become free from the relative time attached with that happening or that phase. And then you're pure observer, so that is time. So you're free from that part of the relative time. You understand? Yeah. I can't put in exact words.
The entrapment part of this is very important to understand, the time part. Okay? So in the scriptures, there are two words, kal and samaya. There is everybody from the Indic language background will understand these two, because kal is kal and samaya is samaya. And there is a concept of kal chakra also. So the cycles of eras and all that is explained. So the context, because of the context, there is a standing understanding between the differentiation of this. In English, unfortunately, both are translated as just time. So it's important to understand the distinction through the qualitative part of it. And the qualitative part that you understand with, unfortunately, has to depend on the quantitative part of it, because you are that one person, you exist as a time. Now, a little bit deeper here, okay? But I'll just go very slowly in and then we'll rise back. In anyone who has had STEM background, that is science, technology, engineering, math, has to come across a concept and understanding of accuracy versus significance. Right? And to this day, I feel that was the easily said, most difficult concept of science. Because many science students fail to explain accuracy versus significance, and that's what this is. R is the accuracy of your existence, and Samay is the significance from which you measure the accuracy of your existence. And so, your relative part is actually expressed as kal, and as soon as you have this separation that is devised by this Ajna Dharma, you can now become observer of that kal, and therefore you exist and suspend yourself as Samaya itself, the significance of the time. Not the time that's measured, but the significance of that time element into your existence, the relative existence. If that makes sense, this is of course very deep example. There are not surface examples of this too much, because even science struggles to express the definition of, or the relevance between the accuracy and significance.
The other element is space. Why we feel separateness with our body? It's because of space. Say for example, we all in this room, and we all occupied space. We occupied that space, I occupied this space, right? Occupied. As soon as you move little bit, that space is free. Right? So it's occupied space. But while your occupation is there, do you understand? But as soon as you move, the space is free. So similarly in our body, one is occupied space, 2/3 of the body is occupied space, which is absolutely normal for body to function. 1/3 part of the body is obstructed space. Obstructed. Obstructed by what? Obstructed by means
Somebody else answering. Somebody said something. Did you say something? Air. He's saying air.
Yeah. No, it's
Yes. The space is that part.
yeah.
The 2/3
Space
part.
is obstructed by our karmas. It's called karman, udgal, vargana.
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 Classification.
I don't know how to translate into English, but karman, udgal, vargana. That means charged molecules, basically, in a simple word. Charged molecular formation in our body is called karman, vargan, karmal, pudgal, vargana. Right? Charged molecules. That space is obstructed by all these molecules at our mind level, at our intellect level, and all that. So what happens is, when we remain pure observer with our file number 1, our relative vyavhar, impurities. So what happens? Our vyavhar becomes, when we say vyavhar becomes pure, what happens? At what level it happens?
When the vyavhar has become pure, what does it mean?
One is sambhava nikal, when there is other party, right? In our relative interactions, if there is another party involved, it's sambhava nikal, so we don't hurt anyone by our mind, speech and bodily behavior, right? But at our part, vyavhar should be self-sense. Yeah. So first of all, we remain free from the effects. It doesn't affect us anymore, right? We remain free. And all those charged molecules, what happens, all these molecules?
Discharge.
To discharge, yeah.
Because what gets charged is the ashuddha. The ashuddha part gets charged and clings on to the shuddha parmanu. So as the shuddha parmanu become free of the ashuddhi, they become shuddha parmanu, the same molecules.
So that's how that obstructed space, આપણા mind, speech અને બધી આખી inner આપણા softwareના observer, when you remain an observer, that's why you can feel that free space within you.
Let me take 1 minute here for, so obstructed molecules, does it fit? Do you understand that part? Obstructed molecules and free space is how this body is made. Does that make sense? Yes? You feel obstructed by your bondage, basically.
Karmic bondage.
Karmic bondage. So the obstruction part is only 1/3 of your body. The 2/3 part is actually an available space for you to roam as the separated being. You have more space available to be free because it's only 1/3 that is really binding you into your relativity. Now, the Karmana, Podgalik, Vargana is the definition of that obstruction part. And that is a technical detail. Karmana is not of your this birth's karmana. Is karmana is of all your past birth's karma. Pudgal is this birth that has come from the past birth into this birth with you as you had fed, so the shoot comes out in this life as the cause of the prior births and the effect in this birth. And Vargana is the classification of it. It chooses under which classifications you had fed the original karma, and its complementary classification type will emerge it and shoot it out. Shoot as in C-H-U-T-E, shoot, not S-H-O-O-T. It's the channel that manifests like a portal, really, from the past life to this life. And that through that portal, all your karmas are going to just manifest into your hisab in this life. But that is only 1/3. And so that is the part that is referred to as the obstruction.
So basically, we just become free from the space covered by our bondings by remaining in Ajna, by remaining here. And that's why you feel the separateness. And in the Siddha Kshetra, there are only two elements. That's why the understanding space is very, very important. Space element. In Siddha Kshetra, there are only two elements. Pure soul state like Chetan and Anata, in space. So after the liberation in the Siddha Bhagwan, so in the Siddha Lok, these are the two elements. In that space is a Vitrak space. Not occupied and not obstructed. Occupied portion is only in this where this living form world is. In the universe part where there is a living, where all the living forms are. So there are lok, and that is called alok, Siddha. So in the alok, where the Siddha Bhagavans are, there is only space and pure soul, but that space is not occupied or not obstructed either. So if it happens in this body, if we live with this space which is occupied, it's okay, but not obstructed, then only so unless the space is freed from the body living obstructed part, we cannot achieve moksha. So that, and unless you feel the separateness totally detached from the body, that's the sign that you are becoming free from that space. So this is just for understanding how the space works. Space just gives us scope for all of our vyavahar to come into effect. Just gives us a scope. Like if you want to sit here, it gives us scope. You to sit there, it gives me scope to sit here. Right? So similarly, Pudgal, all these effects to play out. It just gives a scope, that's all. So that scope has to be open up within ourselves as well. This is obstructed part. So once that space becomes vitrag, that's the final stage. But I just wanted you to understand how the space works. And actually, Dadaji says the space within our body works as a vritti. Vritti. Vritti, I don't know what's the actual word for vritti. Habits and habituated living. Inclinations. Yes, inclination is the right word. It was as an inclination in our body and bodily living. So according to our experience, vartana, you understand? So vritti has come from vartana. શું વર્તાય છે અંદર? What you are experiencing.
The manifest part of vritti is vartana, which is behavior. So what becomes ultimately a physically visible behavior originates in the cognitive part as a vritti. So sometimes you have to understand, and Dada said this, that you have to find the original question from what the answer is. જવાબ ઉપરથી રકમ શોધવો.
So Dadaji,
So from the answer you find the question. So the behavior part that originates in your cognition before it even comes out as a behavior, that little entity, that part is called vritti. And then Dada's vritti is to remain in his own gnata drashta swabhav. So in Charan Vidhi we ask, Apni vritti age mari vritti raho. May your behavior origin, the origin of your behavior, remain the origin of my behavior.
it's very important to understand this topic because Dadaji gave an example, what Pranavbhai just explained. Dadaji gave an example of mercury. Everyone seen mercury? No? What happens if I drop it on the table, mercury, what will happen to that? It will scatter everywhere. And then if you want to put it together, you can, but tremendous efforts, right? Very hard to put it together, but it can become one, right? If you pick up every little particles of that mercury, you can still make it one again. That's how vrittis are. So our vrittis are scattered like a dropped mercury. You understand? Scattered everywhere. So slowly, apni vritti hai mari vritti ho. So with this upyog and focus and nididhyasan, slowly, it becomes coming together, coming home. And it becomes like this. So આપણે શું કહ્યું? વૃત્તિ વહે નિજ ભાવમાં પરમાર્થે સંકી. You understand? So inclinations, વૃત્તિ. આપણને અંદરથી ખબર પડે કે આપણી વૃત્તિઓ ક્યાં છે. એ બધી વૃત્તિઓ once they come home and become one with our pure real soul state, then that space is free. You understand? So all the inclinations. And that's where we feel the experience of the pure soul state. And we feel total separateness, total detachment. જેમાં સુખ શોધવા ગયા હતા તમે, the original sukh, is our innate nature, Ananta Sukh. આપણે કહીએ ને અનંત સુખ, નિરાલમ સુખ. But we were trying to look for sukh everywhere, in objects, in relations, or wherever. એ બધું સુખ શોધવા ગયા. That's why એ બધું it came as a vritti.
The innate nature of seeking happiness in many manifestations is your root. To seek happiness any which way, maybe littlest. And you understand that it's not the whole happiness. It is just tiny, temporary one. And yet you still run after it.
So that came as a vritti in your body.
And it is vritti because you cannot destroy it. You're incapable of really deleting it. Even though you know that this is not going to give you the whole happiness, the full contentment. You're not going to be content. You may be temporarily satisfied but not content. And that difference is where the intent and inclinations are different. Intent will give you content. And this rat race purpose will give you the inclination.
So આપની વૃત્તિ અમારી વૃત્તિ રહો. આપણે બોલીએ but this is the આવી રીતે રહેવી.
Vritti and desire. Desire is more like ichcha. Ichcha is I want to have that versus I'm inclined to have that. So when you actually manifest it in your thought and you go after it, right, you're actually functionalizing your inclination. So I'm inclined to have it versus I want to have it is the transformation of that inclination vritti into ichcha, which is desire. Now you're going to actually manifest it because you're going to functionalize it. It has become a want. Inclination has turned into a want. Yes, self-opinion that unless and until I have it, I'm not going to be whole, or I am lacking, or I'm lagging. To complete the fulfillment results out of. And that fulfillment is just like maybe a temporary hold, rest stop while you're driving a long distance, right? And you get temporary relief.
I think vritti is a perceived happiness. Perceived happiness. And desire means to look for the ways for that perceived happiness. I want this. But behind that, the perceived happiness is working even behind the desires. But one is in the I want this part, and one is you perceive. You see the sukh in there.
So I think, did you translate desire not as ichcha but maybe bhav? Yes? Okay. Now I get it. So his question is, what is the difference between bhav and vritti? I just realized what. Okay. So desire can be translated as ichcha as well as bhav. But the bhav is not a full translation as desire. If you say desire, it is ichcha. Bhav is more like more wholesome. Bhav requires, first of all, ichcha can be only in the mind. Okay? It doesn't need to leave the scope of the mind. But bhav requires the mind, speech, and body. All three. you would require your body, first of all, to have the location for your mind, and then you will have the opinionated thought, because bhav is rupak parinam, closeness in that. Bhav will have a parinam. Desire doesn't have to have fulfillment. It can be unsatisfied, undone, halfway cut off, you don't get it. But the bhav is something that also has the recipient side. It requires Buddha. Buddha is the Buddha Chetan presence. Both are required to have bhav and to complete it as well. So I have a bhav that Bhaveshbhai comes to my house and has breakfast at our sunroom. It requires this Buddha and this mind, speech, body to create that bhav, and requires this to fulfill it. So it's always a relationship between the presence, the Chetan presence is required in the body. Desire can be singular body. You can have a desire by yourself.
I think we'll have to wrap up now.
Remind what is the strategy?
मनन से कहते हैं?
हाँ, yes, सबने क्या करवाना?
Oh, okay. Right. I'll have to take your leave,
Can I continue here?
Mahatmas.
Bhagwan,